Hey y'all, it's me, Jetta K. Just wanted to talk to you guys about my trip in Iceland. So I want to make this video very brief, as briefly as possible, but also comprehensive so that you get a feel for, Iceland, if you plan on going, if you want to go, if you're interested in going, some pros, some cons, and just some things you need to know. So let's get right into it. So first things first, overall I had a great time in Iceland. It was beautiful, it was gorgeous. The scenery is just breathtaking. Like when I was there, I felt like I was in a completely different world, a different realm, a different dimension. It just did not feel real. So yeah, that was my first impression of Iceland, and it's just gorgeous, just amazing. So getting a little into some of the pros. So some of the pros is that friendly people. Everyone there was super friendly, nice. They spoke English. So I like the fact that you are able to communicate with people effectively. It didn't matter if they were at the hotel, it didn't matter if they worked at the gas station. So it was great that we didn't have any frustration there. So that was a plus. Also, the water. You can drink the water. You can drink the tap. Usually when I travel, I like to bring like a Brita filter, like the little bottle, handheld Brita filters. It's usually convenient. You can just, it filters the water like you would at home. But we brought ours, but we didn't need the filter, so we just used it as like a regular bottle because the water is so clean. Their environment is so clean. They're very eco-friendly. They do not like to waste. They are big on recycling, that type of thing. So it's very helpful that you can drink the water because I go through water like crazy. So I usually travel with bottles and bottles of water, or I'll buy some when I get to my destination, but I didn't have to. Drink it straight out the tap. So that was good. Also, surprisingly enough, the food was amazing. Usually, or when I was reading up on it, I heard, you want to try the sheep head or cow tongue, or, the fish is good. I mean, but you can get fish almost anywhere, seafood. But surprisingly enough, I thought the food there was amazing. Everything I ate was fresh, not frozen. It was just delicious. I was actually surprised, just amazing. Everything I ate was good. So we did not have an issue in that department as far as food. The desserts are a little subtle. They're not as sweet like diabetic coma as it is in America, but it's really good. It has like that subtle sweetness and just richness and just good. It's just good food, which I was very surprised. So Iceland is typically known for its fish and sheep and hot dogs, surprisingly. So they're really good at hot dogs. I had a hot dog while I was there and it was really good. But I didn't want to, eat hot dogs the whole time, but everything I had was so good. So what else? If you love the outdoors, then Iceland is perfect for you. A lot of hiking, a lot of camping, just walking around, going to different parts of Iceland. So it's very much for outdoorsy folks. I mean, anyone can go, but especially if you're outdoorsy, then you'll really appreciate going to a place like Iceland. What are some other things? Every hotel we stayed at was really nice and luxurious. I mean, we try not to stay anywhere. We try to stay like 3 to 4 star hotels. But the hotel, even the Hilton there, we stayed the first night. We stayed at Hilton Reykjavik Nordica. And it was beautiful. Now, I will say that most, if not all the hotels we stayed at did not have AC. It's Iceland, so they're usually trying to keep things warm. But the hotels did not have AC, so even when it got a little warm, you can just open the window and you get fresh air, fresh breeze. The Iceland air is so cool and crisp, and we went in July, so I mean, as they got low, maybe in the 50s, but it was in the 60s, mid 60s most of the time. And remember, during this time, the sun doesn't set all the way. So it's always light outside, so it always looks like maybe the sun is rising or the sun is setting. But this also helped with the temperature, so it didn't fluctuate that much. So it stayed in the 60s, 50s, didn't really get too cold in July. But yeah, the hotels were great, just didn't have AC, so, but it didn't seem like that much of a problem unless, you know, we took a shower, tend to get hot in the room, so, but other than that, it wasn't that big of a deal. So we stayed at the Hotel Nordica. Let's see, that was the first few nights, and then we rented a car. I suggest that you rent a car when you go to Iceland because you want to get away from Reykjavik. That's the tourist area. So if you want to get a feel of the countryside, if you want to do more camping and hiking and outdoors activities, then you have to get outside of Reykjavik. So we did. We rented a car, and other options as far as transportation goes is that there's not a lot of taxi and Uber or stuff like that. I don't think there was Uber or Lyft there at all. But they have what's called Flybus, which is the popular transportation. It's very touristy, so a lot of tourists use it. Just keep in mind that we did use it to go to the airport, to our hotel the first day before we rented a car. So we used it a little bit, and it was very convenient, quick, not super expensive. But if you use it to go to different popular places like the Blue Lagoon, things like that, remember you have to travel with everyone else. So essentially, if they want to leave, you leave when they leave. If you want to stay, you know, you're on someone else's time, essentially. So the pro of renting your own cars, you're on your own time. You can do your own thing. If you want to stay longer, you want to stay and leave, you saw what you needed to see and you want to go, then of course, just get in the car and go. And of course, you can stop. There's so many stops along the way. We went to the Black Sand Beach in Vik. That was the first place we drove out to. So there were a bunch of stops in between there. So definitely rented a car. And then so that was the first day. So going to the Black Sand Beach, it was beautiful. Of course, looking at a beach that has black sand, it was just gorgeous. If you're a GOT fan, Game of Thrones, that's where the Eastwatch was. And also they shot different parts of Dragonstone and Dragon Island there, so where they found the dragon glass. So that was very cool. I thought that was very cool. So we had fun there, and also I got proposed to there, and so that was a plus. It was very romantic. Lots of people there, but still very sweet and romantic, but I won't dwell on that for this video. But yeah, it was beautiful. Renting a car, let's see. So the next few days, we went back to Reykjavik, stayed at the hotel, and then the next few days we went up to Arnarstapi because they have some beautiful cottages out there, and so we wanted to make sure we went out there. So again, renting a car, there's stops along the way that you can hike. If you want to camp, you can. We didn't come prepared to camp, so we wasn't doing any of that, but it was a lot of stops. So just a quick story. When we were driving up to Arnarstapi, no, this is not when we were driving. When we were driving up to the Black Sand Beach, we saw this fall and it was beautiful. We were like, oh, we're taking pictures, it's nice. We were like, we're gonna stop there on the way back. And then when we went further along, there was this beautiful, massive fall that looked even like just way better than the first fall that we saw. And it's called Skogafoss. Beautiful, breathtaking. And so we hit that up on our way back. All right, and so when we went to Arnarstapi, we stayed at the Arnarstapi. We stayed at the cottages, and beautiful. They were like tiny homes on the countryside. Again, there's a lot of stops in between. Did a little bit of hiking going to both places. So we stayed at it's called the Cottages at Arnarstapi. There we had great food. honestly got a chance to just relax after all the moving and shaking we were doing over the past few days. So we got a chance to just sit back and relax and just enjoy the view, enjoy the ocean, eat great food. Like they had a buffet that was just amazing there. And that's another thing. There's not a lot of food and stops along the way, so gas, grocery stores, that type of thing. So what we did on each road trip, so Arnarstapi is going north, Black Sand Beach, and this is from Reykjavik, is going east. So on each way we stopped at like a gas station and got some snacks. We also found a grocery store and did some light shopping and got snacks and drinks and things like that. Nothing that we needed to refrigerate, although everywhere we went as far as our stay had refrigerators. But just something to keep in mind. And also, speaking of gas stations, even the food at the gas stations were great, like fresh, great. Like I had an amazing breakfast sandwich at one of the gas stations, and like that's how good the food was. Like they don't serve you just frozen whatever, prepackaged. Like it was really good, and I was very surprised. So don't sleep on the gas station food in Iceland. So that was a little bit about the cottages. Also, just a side note, there were these birds out there near the cottages. We didn't see them that much in Reykjavik, but there were definitely a lot out by the cottages. And so they're called Kría in Iceland, and I think they're Icelandic tern here, and that's what we call them here in the US. So these birds were making so much noise. They were attacking people. They attacked us. Just flying around our heads, just loud and annoying. And so the next day I asked one of the clerks there, I was like, what are these birds? Because I couldn't recognize them. And I was like, why are they acting like this? Like, why are they, going off like this? And so she explained that, they let their young walk around, and their young, it sounded like their young the baby birds were kind of hard-headed, and they just wanted to walk around, do their own thing. So the adults have to fly around and protect them and, kind of warn off people who may be coming near them or close, which I didn't see a lot of the babies, but she was like, yeah, that's why they're so crazy. I was like, yes, they are going off. So we got attacked by birds a little bit. That was kind of scary, but that was just the one night at the cottages that they were really acting crazy. So just beware of the Kría, or Icelandic tern birds, because they were scary. All right. So talked about that. One of the things you need to know about Iceland is that the weather is unpredictable. So you want to make sure that you bring wet clothes because it rains a lot. And again, it's unpredictable, so you just don't know when it will. Check the weather app, but just be prepared. So rain jackets, umbrellas, pants that you can get wet, clean socks, a lot of clean socks, shoes that you can get wet, rain boots if you want to, but just keep in mind you're probably going to be hiking and walking a little bit. So wet clothes. And we wore those wet clothes mainly when we went out from Reykjavik. So when we went hiking in, Arnarstapi and Black Sand Beach, that's when we wore a lot of our wet clothes. But just come prepared, and of course, dress appropriate for the weather. Let's see. I think that's pretty much most of it. Some touristy spots you have to go in Reykjavik. We didn't really want to do too much of the touristy thing. Once you go in the tourist area, you start seeing the Hard Rock Cafe. You start seeing the Hard Rock Cafe, then I don't feel like it's the same experience as you're not getting the full Icelandic experience. You can get the Hard Rock Cafe anywhere, literally. So we didn't stay too long. The only time we went like deep into Reykjavik is when, the nightlife, which they were going on and on and on about the nightlife. We party late, we're out, we go crazy. Yeah, Iceland. So I was like, okay, cool. And I thought it was cool. The nightlife was really cool, but nothing beats the U.S. It was fun, but I didn't see anything too crazy. It was just, just a bunch of people having fun. It seemed very, everybody, unified. Nothing too crazy. Maybe that's a good thing. Yeah, maybe I'm just too used to crazy stuff. But yeah, nightlife is usually, they said it's usually huge in Reykjavik, and I mean, it was fun, but it wasn't. So that was another thing. Oh, and then there was this beautiful church there. Forget the name of it, but I can add it somewhere once I look it up. But beautiful church, and we went to go see it. It's in the main area of Reykjavik. Just beautiful. The organs and the organ pipes were just gorgeous. It was just massive. Just ceilings were huge and high. You can face either side. The chairs would adjust either way. But we took that moment just to be very grateful and just to kind of reflect on our vacation. This was our last day there, so we just sat down for a minute, kind of looked around and just soaked it all in. So if you're religious or you just want to see something beautiful or you just want a moment of gratitude, I would definitely go there. And it's just a beautiful place to visit. And then lastly, of course, everybody knows about the Blue Lagoon. And so that's like the biggest tourist spot in Iceland. Everybody wants to go. Everybody likes it and loves it. I will say that before I got there, I did a lot of research, and a lot of people were saying that the Blue Lagoon was just overrated, and that it's overcrowded, it's overpriced, which I totally believe. So, I mean, I didn't think the price was terrible, but they were like, there's so many other lagoons in Iceland that look so much better and that are more, private, and, it's not a lot of people. So I was about to not go to the Blue Lagoon and try to go to like the Secret Lagoon, I think it is. There were a bunch of other places that you can go, but I was like, I'm here. I just want to get the experience, see what it's all about, see what the hype is all about, see if some of the reviews and negative things I've been hearing is true. So I went, and I must say, I loved it. I loved it. Now, keep in mind that I went at like 8, 9 o'clock at night. The sun is still out, so you don't have to worry about it being dark, and it's well lit. So I forget what time they're open, but I had plenty of time to be there. It didn't even close while I was there. So if you do go to the Blue Lagoon, go during a time where it's not a bunch of people. And if you're going in July, it stays bright outside for, all night long pretty much. But, just don't go during the busy time. And I feel like it wasn't that busy when I went. Still a lot of people, but not that busy. So what you get is you get a free mask. You get a free towel, or a towel comes with it. And you get a drink. So I was just drinking, had my mask on, chilling. It was beautiful. It felt nice. It was just so warm, and it was cool outside, warm in there. So you get that little sensation. It was really good, really beautiful. The water was beautiful. So some of the reviews, I felt like they meant well, but it was still an experience for me. So I still enjoyed it. So I'll recommend going to the Blue Lagoon, but if you have more time, try to check out some other ones that are highly rated and see how you like those. But that was the only one I went to, so I didn't have time. Let's see, am I missing anything else? Some of the cons, I guess I'll get into some of the negative things. Iceland is expensive. I would compare it to Las Vegas, mainly because there's just not there aren't any all-inclusive places that you can go to. And Las Vegas, you'll probably I've paid $15-$20 for a drink. In Iceland, you'll probably pay $15 for a drink. I don't think I paid $20, but they use Icelandic Krona, and just looking at the Krona and then translate it to United States dollars, we racked up some coin over there. So it is very expensive, but I feel like everything I spent money on was well worth it, especially the food and drinks. I had a mule there the first night, and that was the best meal I've ever had, and I would spend $15 on that meal. It's just that if you drink a lot, or you want to have casual drinks even, that adds up. We stayed there for 5 days, so you can imagine. So it was pretty pricey. I think the buffet was the most absurd price that we paid. We paid, I think the buffet was like $50 a person, if my memory serves me correctly. It was like, it ended up being like 90 something dollars, and I was like, okay, I'm getting full at this buffet. And the buffet was great, but I don't think it was $50 worth. Like, I would have paid 35, 40 maybe. And it's a buffet, so. So that was it. The downside, I mean, the weather, you know, it's not sunny and bright, but it's beautiful. Even when it's gloomy, it's beautiful. Even the way the clouds and the mist cascade over the mountains, like, it's just beautiful. So I would say the weather, with it being rainy and cold, usually not everybody's cup of tea, but even standing in the rain, it's just still worth it. What are some other downside? Transportation, you just need to rent a car. Like, there's no, I wouldn't choose any other way. Any other con I can think of? I think that was it. There's a lot to do. We just stayed for a limited amount of time, so 5 days was good enough for us to do what we need to do, and we're really laid back people, so we didn't need to have everything jam-packed every single day, every minute of the day. So just spread your time out wisely. I would say overall, if you are an outdoorsy person, if you don't mind the cold, the rain, you love and appreciate beautiful scenery, great cuisine, you know, you don't mind being outside, I would say Iceland is a great destination to visit. Just make sure you get your money right. There's no all-inclusive, nothing you're gonna be paying. So if that doesn't sound like your cup of tea, you're not really outdoorsy, you don't like the cold, or you don't like the rain or the gloominess, or whatever the case may be, then Iceland may not be for you. If you just want to go to see the Blue Lagoon, then I don't think you should waste your money. So yeah, if you have any questions, or you know, any comments, or something that maybe I left out, I made me a little list so I didn't forget anything, but maybe I did, and you want to let me know, just drop a comment down below, and till next time.